This is James Lutton for Slothbox, sponsored by the Excelsior Sporting Club. And I'm joined today with Sonny Edwards. Sonny, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining me today, mate. Been a while since we last spoke. Let's first of all talk about the fight date. June 10th, got a date in the calendar there at Campus. How's camps? Has it started yet? Or
Yeah, well, you'd think so. It being under 5 weeks away. I mean, I've been in the gym all year. I've been sparring quite a lot. Getting other fighters from all round ready for their fights. So, when the opportunity come up, Eddie Hearn needed a headliner for the 10th of June. Matchroom needed a headliner. The newest, freshest, latest signing. Um, Yeah, they asked. I just booked. You know, the funny story is I just booked a holiday to Portugal. I had one foot on a beach, pina colada, yada yada, all of that. Yeah, I couldn't wait. But when the phone call came, I have to put leisure and lifestyle, whatever. After my career, and what better way to start a relationship with your new promoter? Then taking I mean, maybe a shorter notice than other world champions be willing to take, but. It's what I'm about. I'm a fighter. I'm always ready, really, to get in the ring and have it. So yeah, 7 weeks is plenty of time. I feel like I'm really flying in the gym at the moment. Sparring is going great. So yeah, I can't wait, to be honest. I know it's what everyone says, but I'm at that stage where I've just got a target now, and the weeks and the days are flying by, and I can't wait to fight again.
you mentioned obviously a bit short notice, but as you say, Eddie and Matchroom boxing, they needed some showtime. They needed someone to be ready to come in, and who better to call in yourself? And as you mentioned, your first fight under the banner was headlining down at Wembley Arena. Just talk to me a little bit about the signing with Matchroom and Eddie and how that came about.
Well, I knew there was mutual interest for both of us to work with each other. We nearly got the deal, well, our side of the deal anyway. Excuse me. We nearly got the fight over the line with Martinez back for October because of Martinez's side. It never happened. The conversation started up and opened up really from there. I feel like both parties felt very easy to work with, and then the fights have all been sort of already laid out. It's just getting them to sort of fall in order because there's already four, five, six, seven potentially fighters on the stable that, if my name gets announced on a poster with that, they're all big fights in their own right. So I think it's the perfect timing for my career. I feel like I did it the right way as well. I feel like I knew that to really sort of come in at an angle where I am, have any sort of leverage with any of the promoters, that sometimes you got to back yourself and believe in yourself, even if it's not, the route traditionally that everyone else, is walking. I think my career has been, for the most part, handled well. I feel like I've done everything I've needed to do, but I've also, been put in good positions and good opportunities. And I think the conversations with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, have all been really, really exciting ones. The priority to make the big fights and to really unified and undispute and then push on past that, the flyweight, super flyweight divisions, is matched with me and the company. So I really do think it's a match made in heaven. I don't think there's much room for error. I feel like there's no traps I'll be walking into. Whoever the most dangerous fighter is the name that I want. Whoever they're saying I'm not going to beat is the fighter that I want. And if anyone out there likes to make a big fight, it's Eddie Hearn. So
Just want to pick up on something you mentioned there, Sonny. You said your career, for the most part, has been handled very well. Do you look back at anything in your career that you feel could have been done better?
nah, do you know what? I feel like no regrets. I feel like I've managed to position myself in one of the best positions of any British fighters out there at the moment. Obviously, there's the special cases, the big fighters with markability are sort of outside of the world of boxing. But I feel like for a flyweight, I'm probably hitting levels and sort of marketability and interest that a lot of boxing promoters didn't think would really be at this weight at this stage, with especially maybe in Britain, because I feel like I'm the only one really that's doing it. I don't think there's anyone else around the weights from this country that they're really talking about at the moment, or the weight above. So Yeah, I feel like I'm sort of flying the flag for Britain right now, and being one of the few remaining world champions and being one of the longer standing ones as it stands right now, looking to make my fourth defence and then hopefully push on with, like I said, the unifications and undisputed. I'm really looking to sort of cement my place in British boxing and hopefully give the fighters, I mean, sorry, and hopefully give the fans a fighter that when their home fighter goes overseas or the challenge from another world level fighter from a country foreign to our own goes to, battle, goes to fight out for the greatest prizes in boxing on the biggest platforms, then yeah, I hope I give, British fight fans someone to be proud of, to be honest.
Absolutely. You mentioned with Eddie, the biggest fights can happen. The Martinez fight was close, like you say. At your end, it's all signed and sealed, pretty much. Now, when I ask you what fights you think will happen realistically, I mean, who do you think will take you on realistically? Because I know you very well, and I know you'll fight anybody. What fights are you hoping can happen with Matchroom Boxing?
I think they all can happen. I feel like even the fighters that aren't fighting me right now, they're probably looking at me at some point as like one of the money fights out there. That's probably the reason why the fight's not happening just yet. Stall it for another 12, 18 months, 2 years. Who knows what the fight's at? And that is probably their thinking. I don't think I'm the style that people really fear in the sense of getting in the ring with. It's more a terrible idea for your boxing career prospects to get in the ring with me. I genuinely believe that because fighters don't look good against me. If anything, very good, very elite, very well accomplished fighters look average, if not ordinary, against me, and it sort of takes away a lot of the built up momentum they have over the years. So I feel like fighters probably look at me more as when they haven't really got nothing else and they can sort of take the cash out because I am still, well, I am genuinely probably the biggest payday that anyone's going to get at flyweight. Without going into it, the figures speak for themselves. I'm in a very good place. It doesn't really matter to me who I fight. Like I'm good, but with regardless of that, the priority, the aim, the dream is still the same. I want the big fights. Most realistically, I think the biggest fight I'll get first will be Bam Rodriguez. I think me beating him will set up the level of marketability and platform and profile that Martinez would deem necessary to then jump in the ring with me. And the purse, obviously, that is the main thing I think that he cares about in all of that. But I'm ready for all of them. The only one ask I'd put towards Matchroom, towards Eddie in private conversation was just don't give them each other. There's Dalekane over there. We tried to reach out for a fight. He don't want to fight me. I've sparred him before. I understand it. If I get Bam Rodriguez first, give Dalekane to Martinez. Do that. That's perfect, I think. Winners fight each other. If Martinez has that much of an issue of fighting me first, I think Martinez can beat Dalekane. I think it's a hard fight for him, though. But Bam Rodriguez, I feel like if he didn't have the injury in his last fight, he would have fought me next. I feel like we could have got a deal over the line. Just like me, I see a lot of similarities. I'm a few years his senior, which is mad to be already talking at sort of world level fights. Talking about someone a few years below me. Um, but I see a lot of similarities. A burning desire to be considered as one of the best. A sort of unfettered belief in himself where he'll jump up 2 weights and fight a killer at short notice and become the world champion, defend it against another savage, and then push on from there. So I do rate a lot of what he's done in the ring, and that's why I want to fight him. I mean, when I want to fight someone, that's the biggest respect I could think I could ever pay to someone. There's a lot of fighters that it wouldn't even, me being next to them on a poster wouldn't even get me to the gym. Really, like I'd be going anyway, but not because of them, if that makes sense. So Baron Rodriguez for me is the ideal, most realistic, most reliable fight that I genuinely believe by the end of this year that we'll have over the line. And if not, it won't be for lack of effort from me. And I can assure that to me, my fans, the fans of the other fighters, that any of these fights that people have wanted to see, if they haven't, it's never, ever, ever been because of me.
Definitely. You mentioned marketability, building your profile. You mentioned obviously financially you're good. You built yourself up to this. back at the start of your career when you was fighting out in Marbella on these small hall shows out in Spain, did you ever expect to get to this stage so early in your career?
What when I had a £50 a week sponsor from you. And it's mad that you brought that up because I was gonna make sure that I mentioned it before the end of this interview. But yeah, back in those days, I'll be real. Um, like nothing was gifted to me. A lot of what people don't understand is they've seen me sort of pop out, and then they understand that I had a good amateur career. Um, and they think they understand what they understand. And I don't know, maybe they live by the impression that I've really had things given to me really easy. Like I didn't fight on any sort of TV like network until I think 8, 9 fights in, and then it was Box Nation, headlining my own New York Hall show, in a hard fight against a fight that people 8-0 probably wouldn't take, former European champion from the weight of 2 weights above me, really, on the flyweight, at the weight above super flyweight. So like I've had to earn my place, and then I had to go the international route because no British fighters would box me for the tens or the 12s or the £15,000 they were getting offered to fight what I had in my budget of what I brought to the table then. Um, and I had to do it the hard way. I had to say yes. Go back to box rec. There's a period of time, 7 fights, all title fights in 14 months. And against Granados, I snapped ligaments in my high ankle, and it put me in a boot for like 4 weeks, and I couldn't even train on it for about 8. And I still fought 17, 7 times in that 14-month frame because I had to keep busy. I just had a child at the time as well in the midst of all of that. Um, and yeah, boxing has always been my everything. So I know whatever I've got now is because I've put in the work to do it. I was the easiest fighter to get on a show. They never had to worry about me turning down opponents. I said yes to every single one. There was never an opponent. They'd offer me 3. I'd be picking the hardest one with the highest box rec ratings and boxed at the heaviest weights and had the most knockouts because I just wanted it to at least look a certain way. And I wasn't seeing none of these fighters really before, so it didn't matter who they were. Like it was like on fight night when you're going up the rankings, you're not thinking about like the ones coming up. You're thinking you're just getting there and beating them. That's generally what I thought. So my thinking was always, I believe I'm going to be the best in the world if I'm not already nearly there. If I can't beat just random generated fighters that I've never heard of before, just from anywhere they are, then I'm not as good as I think I am, quite frankly. So I got a lot of belief in the fact that I was just fighting any and everyone as quickly as possible. I weren't arguing over money. I weren't going, well, these views said that I got loads more than, and there was a lot more tweets, and I was trending over the main event. Like, I wasn't doing any of that. I was just, yes, I'm fighting. When is it? Fighting. Yeah, when is it? Fighting. When is it? And that put me then in a position to fight for the world title. And that put me in a position to defend it against good fighters, decent fighters 3 times, and then be considered with my performances the number one in the weight at the world by the Ring Magazine, ESPN, and or whoever else asks. And at that point now, even though I've been ready to make all the fights the whole time, no one else has, and that's why the meaningful fights that could have probably made at every level haven't. And when you sort of, I don't know, put your hand up straight away, like I'll fight everyone, and then everyone else is sort of, maybe next year, and it becomes very easy to sort of just skip levels without even really fighting or proper existing at them because no one's there. You know what I mean? I feel like someone like Dalton Smith had the same experience where like not everyone like the top level of Britain was trying to fight him. You know what I mean? They weren't until his purses have got up and now the offers will get better. Now they'll it's more of a suitable offer. And that's what I'm experiencing now, where fighters that have turned down the fight with me for £25,000 at 5-0, £75,000 last year, and they're still now begging for the fight. Like you've had the opportunities, you've had the options, like outside of me, you get nothing even remotely close to what you're getting offered to fight me at these stages of your career. So um, it's always been a bit frustrating, but I can only ever take it as probably the compliment that it is that all my opponents, even now at the world level, Martinez is messaging me days after pulling out of the fight against me the first time, saying when we fight, we must make history for the most money, etc., etc. Like even at the highest level, these fighters that will seemingly fight anyone, like they look at me as for whatever reason that much of an issue where they need to make sure they're paid. And I think that can only ever be a compliment because I would never lose any of these fights with any of these fighters at the negotiation table ever, because the fact of just beating them and then be mentioned in my name like is enough where I'm not gonna lose that fight ever, like ever. There's always gonna be someone they're gonna be talking about, like, and I would always want to fight them.
And that's down to your mindset. Do you know what I mean? That's something that separates you from the rest.
Yeah, but I know I'm the best. I don't think it. I don't tell myself it in the mirror. I don't have to like read books or talk about the secret or put like deep sleep help music or go speak to sport therapists. I don't need to do any of it. I know I'm the best. I've proved it to myself since I was 9 years old, over and over again. I lost 7 times as an amateur. And no one fight was it like, oh, Sonny really got beat. It was like close nothing fights. Every single time losing by 1 point on computer scoring or draws or like really am I losing? You know what I mean? That was it always. Split decision, like nothing, like barely touching each other. It was like I've never really got in a boxing ring ever and got out thinking, oh wow, I didn't belong there ever. It's not happened ever, ever, ever. And I've been in the ring with people far heavier than me. And okay, as a pro, you've only seen me not super flyweight, but in the future, you know, when maybe I haven't got a position to hold on to as much, I don't know, I've moved up weights or things haven't all gone my way. You'll see me take those risks that fighters wouldn't dream of. You know, go from flyweight to featherweight and fight for a world title or a good level title, or just a good level fight. Genuinely, you will see me do stuff like that, and that will probably be like another part of my legacy that people aren't even ready for, expecting yet. Fights that they weren't even imagining, and then all of a sudden they're on a poster somewhere, and then I win, and then it's like what? He just went up 3 weights. No one's ever done that before because no one else has ever like. For me, I look at someone 53.5 kilo, the exact same as the way I look at 50.8, or I look at someone like 57.5. All of these to a certain like, they're all the same to me. I've been in the ring with them all countless times, countless times. If anything, put me with someone that's heavier that thinks they can punch hard, I have more fun with them.
So talking of fighters taking risks at certain times, and it's not always fighters. It can be the teams around them who do potentially swerve opponents, things like that. I want to talk about Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clarke. There's a lot of talk about that at the minute, and there's a lot of talk on our boxer confident enough to put Fraser in with Wardley. That's sort of the thing that they're sort of trying at the angle everyone's trying to push at the minute. Is it 258? Is it boxer? It seems Fraser obviously wants to fight. What are your thoughts on this?
You can tell Fraser wants to fight, and I don't even think it's even a confidence issue. I think, and this is no slight to Fabio. I like Fabio. Anyone that's a boxing person, you could not say that Fabio Wardley has got more boxing experience than Fraser. You just naturally you couldn't say that. So they're probably very confident. What is probably happening, and unfortunately, Fraser's probably the recipient of said thing happening, is after paying a lot of money to a fighter to sign them, maybe a big sign-on bonus, like to snatch them in the time when you're trying to sign for the future and snap up the Olympians and the heavyweight medalist is probably a good bet. In the sense of getting them to agree on that paper and getting the budget to fit, and you're paying them a lot of money probably to snatch him off Eddie with a good relationship that was there. Yada yada, probably is still there. Yada yada yada. What Fraser's probably getting punished with is the first immediate fights. Why it don't matter who he's fighting, so they just put him in against the cheapest opponent they can find. It doesn't matter. Everyone else fights people. It doesn't matter. So then now he's got like a critical lens on him, as if it's who he's picking. There's also probably when the fights are getting made and they're building them up, they probably have a route that is already half set out in their plan of who they want to hit. It might hit someone that they've got signed, or it might hit, you know what I mean, like an in-house fight, typically what promoters do. I don't know. I can't think of anyone just off the top of my head, but that's usually what happens. Do they want to go into a head-to-head with Fabio Wardley, who's probably more built up than Fraser Clarke? So putting him in a big fight local to him from a promoter that's already had him out on a platform and in big fights and a bit more seasoned, it probably makes more sense for Fabio and his team to want the fight on a more pressing matter. I'll be real, I was surprised to see Fraser Clarke's name put for the British title, like as in go straight into it. He's not fought more than a 6 rounder. I didn't even know that was possible. Whether they put him for it or not, I don't know what happened there. You'd think they'd have to have put him for it to get announced, but like I said, I don't know what happened there.
Robert Smith said there was a request
Yeah,
made.
yeah, I did see that, but like I said, they didn't say who it was from. It could have been Fraser going up to the Robert Smith at a fight and going, Robert, put me in for the British board. It could have been someone sending in a formal letter. I don't know. It wasn't specified.
Can the fighter do that, or does it have to come from management?
I guess it can. I guess if you can walk straight up to him and go, "Yo, Robert, why haven't I fought for the British title? Oh, how was your record? oh yeah, we could do that. Do you know what I mean? I guess I don't see why not. I've not tried to do that, but I know managers put into the board and then they come around a circular and they put the people that have requested. And if they're reasonable opponents, they'll get accepted. If not, they'll get knocked back or they'll be ordered a final eliminator. But I think it's very surprising. A 5-0, I think, never gone more than 6 rounds, never had a fight scheduled more than 6 rounds. Prospect would be ordered straight for a British title fight. I thought at my time you had to fight a 10 rounder before you could fight a 12 rounder or something along the 8 round. I thought there was some sort of, but obviously not. Obviously not. So if they put him forward and the teams both want it, then the deal could have been made. If it's a fact that the deal can't be made on both parties, because the conversation would have happened probably at some point, then it's going to purse bid. If Fraser is saying to his team, no, look, I really want you to win this purse bid, and they're saying, well, we don't know if we're going to go in as hard as the rival promoter. We'd rather you just pull out and just sort of go our own route, and we'll deliver you this and we'll deliver you this, like, because it suits the company. Then there'll be a conflict of interest that, because it's been handled so publicly and the board sort of pull it out, that yeah, it will cause some people feeling a certain way because people will be mentioning it and questioning it. When really probably all that's happened is, yeah, there's 4 parties involved. There's, Fraser, his promoter, Fabio, his promoter, even their managers might have contradicting to even their fighters or the manager, etc., etc. But what I think is happening right now is a fight that probably should be happening right this second. I don't think it's far away at all, but like until Fraser's had, like, this isn't making excuses for him either. Like, I don't think a fighter should be ordered by the board, accepted by the board until they've had a fight of some sort of substance. Like, your amateur career really shouldn't just give you a British title shot. Otherwise, it's disrespectful to all the English champions, all the area champions, all the fighters that have been working and climbing the rankings and having to take fights. It's disrespectful in my opinion. So it just seems a bit of a weird situation, but I don't know. I think Fraser will definitely fight Fabio. Fabio will definitely fight Fraser. I think it's not out of belief of Fraser winning the fight or not, whether Sky or Boxer do or don't want him. It's probably more their plans, signing him for a lot of money, paying him a lot of money, then letting him go build over in the zone and complete one of their cards or headline one of their cards. Yes, there's financial reward, but it probably doesn't look great for the company. They probably haven't got an idea of a show or already a venue booked in with a deposit where they think they could even compete with what they could probably plan. So it makes more sense not to lose face than to get Fraser out. And if Fraser's showing resilience to it, then that's when the awkward conversation is going to come. I feel like it's not personal. It's probably nothing to do with, oh, they're not confident. It's nothing to do with that. If you sign, if I'm a company and I sign someone as an asset to my company, like, to a certain degree, you want some sort of say of where it goes. People think that the fight has every say. No, they don't. I could say to my promoter, I want this fight. They could be like, well, you can't get this fight for this reason, that reason, that reason, that reason. I don't need to like the reason. It could be like you don't sell enough tickets. It could be that no, you've not fought enough rounds yet. It could be that we think you're going to lose. It could be that no, we signed you to fight this one. Doesn't matter. You signed a promoter contract. It's their exclusive right to judge what show you go on. So, and it's probably not belief. Fraser's a very good fighter. Everyone knows Fraser's a good fighter. I think a lot of people, and this is not to disrespect Fabio, would probably favour Fraser in that fight just because of his Olympic pedigree. He's a very, very, very good fighter, very talented, mixed it with the best. Like, good fighter, well seasoned, been across 5 rounds countless times. Heavyweight fights don't even always make it to the 12. Do you know what I mean? So, great fight as well. It's a fight that I would love to see. But probably more business, like everything, and even maybe from Fraser's side, he might have in his contract or fight for this XYZ on this fight and fight for this on this. So he might go, oh well, this is a bigger fight. Let me fight for that one now, and they might be going, no. Like, it could be like, you don't know what it is. There could be 101 reasons. It's boxing, but do I think it's what everyone's saying because Fraser doesn't want the fight or believe he can win the fight, or Sky does? Like, everyone tries to do conspiracy theory, but it's not. It's probably always the pound note. You've always got to follow the pound note. That's usually the reason, and it's not always the fighter because there's broadcasters, there's budget, there's networks, there's managers, there's crossover fee. Like, if Fraser goes and fights over there or Fabio goes and fights over there, there'll be somewhere stipulated in a contract somewhere that you have to pay your home manager a certain percentage to fight away. Well, therefore, if you're the contender and you're crossing over, you're getting a small purse because you're the challenger anyway. And now if you're crossing over, you're losing even more of a percentage. So really the 100% of a purse that normally comes down to like, I don't know, maybe 80, 75, 70, depending on what your percents are, is now coming down to like, well, it's a smaller purse on a challenger's purse for a British title anyway. And then after that, you're losing an extra 10% or 15% or 20% or even 25% to your home promoter just for the right to go fight away from them when they paid you all that money. So therefore, all of a sudden, when's it really like? When's it like? No one's going to be. Everyone's not going to be happy in that situation unless Fraser fights for next to nothing. Especially if Sky don't put in no substantial bid, and Fraser knows that, and Fraser knows that they could probably the zone could probably just pay Fabio to what his contract states for a fight of this magnitude, and it will probably win. And therefore, Fabio's side, everyone's happy. Good business, get a big fight, big platform, a headline, homes arena. It's already set out for them, getting paid already what was half expected to get paid. When now Fraser might be getting paid a quarter, a fifth, maybe. Like overall, when it all comes out, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just finally, Sonny, I've got to ask you. Your brother been very vocal in interviews. You've said to me earlier you get a lot of interview requests lately. I'm imagining that's probably why, because Charlie is.
Oh, don't say that. That made me want to scrap this one, fucking hell. Like you would think it's because I'm a world champion defending my world title. I've got profound thoughts that are interesting to hear. Not because my brother's relentlessly mentioning me in every interview and getting like 900 views or 3,000 views or 2,700 views. Like, I don't think it's really groundbreaking to me, to be honest. Like, I'll put a video up of me walking out my front door on my Instagram and get 10 times that. Like, it's not, no one's even, you know what I mean? It's a very small little echo chamber. I get why he's doing it. He's trying to bring some relevance to his boxing career, but there's about 2,000 listed bantamweights on BoxRec, and he's calling out the one flyweight in the world that's related to him.
Is that why you think it is? Is it just because for relevance to get his name back out there? I mean, you put on Twitter the other day he's potentially got a fight date coming up very soon. Is that potentially why he's doing it?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like maybe he's jealous. I feel like I know he's jealous about certain things. It's probably hard for an insecure older brother to have their little brother eclipse them. You know what I mean? And I think that's the root of it all. That's the source of it all. That's probably the reason why we got the relationship that we do to this day. From a long time, it's probably been coming. Um, there's always that I'm not very good with selfish people in it. So for me, when people show that their narrative is constantly more important than yours, I just leave them over there. So um, instead of accepting the offer of coming down, with his partner and his beautiful daughter that me and my family have only met 2 or 3 times. A 2-year-old life. Instead of coming and joining, the announcement, AJ weighing, getting a hotel in London, doing all that family time. Instead, he decided to stay up in Manchester and call me out on Twitter and Instagram instead. So that's where we're at the moment. You know what I mean?
A lot of people think it's just set up. It's your brothers. You must get along. It must be a bit of a pantomime. Just I don't want to go too deep into it, but just touch on the relationship and the realness of it. What, is it a fractured relationship? Is it do you get on with Charlie?
You know what it is? I'm not a religious person, but I feel like the Bible, the Quran, whatever religious book it might be, teaches a lot of lessons. And there's one I couldn't say where it's from, but somewhere along the lines of Lord forgive those because they do not know what they do in it. Without the in it, that was my little on the end. Yeah, I don't expect no better from someone that probably don't know no better. So he's my brother. I know him definitely better than probably many, if any, of people on this world. So it's a it's a weird relationship that it has to sort of exist to a certain degree in the public eye because of what we do. Um, yeah, it's just it's a difficult one where two people are very very different, have different morals, um, exist differently, different priorities, um, different ways they spend their time. Obviously, there's always going to be, different ways you view things, approach things. So we was all right. We are all right, he's my brother, but it's getting like a bit. Do you know what it is? More than anything, yeah. I don't think he realized what he's doing to his like public image. Like for someone that's always cared about it so badly, someone that's so insecure about it, I don't think he actually realizes the conversations that are happening around what he's doing. And like he said, he likes putting a lot out on the internet. Um, like he said, we haven't spoken since he even called me out from the AJ fight. But yeah, I don't think he really realizes like even like people close to him personally, like think about what he's doing. But yeah, man, I think he needs to reignite his career a little bit, and he's using me, which is funny because what I mean, he weren't really offering me handouts. He weren't really offering me hand ups all too much when I was coming through. Wasn't there for me winning my world title, but the moment I did, started coming around my house with business propositions after business propositions after these lot want to do her, and these lot want to do her, and these lot want to do her. So it's just a bit funny how things change, but I feel like you know birds of a feather flock together in it, and there's probably a reason why he's got friends that he's got. You know what I mean?
Do you think the fact that you do reply back to tweets about him and about his interviews, does that give him the direction that he wants? Could you not just nip that in the bud and leave that as it is and keep the personal life personal?
Yeah, potentially, but all I'll do it for more than anything is when he says something, then I'll just touch a little surface of what I could say, and then all of a sudden he goes quiet a little bit. And then his biggest problem is he can't get asked a hard question or know how to deal with it. Like he's still way too conscious about harming camera and everyone's watching this and everyone cares. So like he still tries to hold like face value and tries to like play things down or tries to, make everyone feel sorry for him or play the victim. Like he's still very much stuck in his ways and his insanities. So like I don't know, I can't just leave him to it, but at the same time remind him that if we really did this, if we really went like public with like, and I started talking about the person he is, you know what I mean? He wouldn't like it. So I don't know. I think he should just leave me and mine out of it. You know what I mean? I'll be real. I think he should just focus on making himself relevant again. Um, you know, I think he fucked his career going to Joe Gallagher, firstly as a trainer, secondly, definitely probably worse as a manager. Um, yeah, but while I'm defending world titles, headlining, you know what I mean, with his old mate, the best promoter in the world, Eddie Hearn, he'll be on obscurity at the moment for six rounders somewhere. So until he gets out of that rut, I feel like you know what I mean. You should just leave my name out of it. To be honest, to be
Right.
honest.
Well, thank you for your time. All the best, June the 10th. Mentioned not far away now. We'll see you again soon.